If you're one of those people who a couple years ago would brag about how good Marvin Bagley was going to become in the NBA, you're probably having the time of your life right now. Because finally, Marvin Bagley is playing the way that we all thought he was going to play when he first got drafted. What up, everybody? It's your boy STG Hoops with a brand new video. And if you haven't subscribed already, I'm telling you, we are so close to the biggest goal we've started when we made this channel, the 1K subscriber mark. We're having a lot of fun. We bleed basketball. So as we begin this video, hit that subscribe button, join the family. Marvin Bagley, this video is for you. I remember when Marvin Bagley III got drafted in 2018 by the Sacramento Kings with the number 2 pick in the NBA 2018 draft. I was like, yo, this dude is gonna be great. You know, him playing at Duke and just getting that hype as that dominant big man, right? We were super excited as NBA fans, I'm sure all of us, to really see what this guy was gonna do. By the way, that 2018 draft was absolutely stacked. Marvin Bagley III was the 2nd overall pick to number 1, which is of course DeAndre Ayton, who's now with the Portland Trail Blazers. But yo, at number 3, Luka Doncic came after Marvin Bagley, right? Trae Young, Jaren Jackson, Defensive Player of the Year, you know, Sexton and Bridges, and of course Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's literally killing it right now. So such really solid players in the NBA today actually came from that 2018 draft. Dante DiVincenzo, like all these people that I'm sure we all know and play. Grayson Allen, Simmons from Portland. Wow, this is awesome to see. But anyways, Marvin Bagley III was drafted by the Kings at number 2, and he had a lot of high expectations just to really take Sacramento to that next level, right? But unfortunately for Marvin Bagley, even with all the hope, this brother was getting some next level cards in NBA 2K. If you play the game, they would give him, you know, such elite versions because he was just that big that, you know, we really thought was going to take over in the NBA alongside, of course, DeAndre Ayton, etc. But unfortunately, after a pretty promising first season, averaging 15 points a game, playing about 62 games, which is pretty solid. He only started 4, but still 15 points a game that first season. We were thinking that this brother was only going to get better. But unfortunately, injuries really affected Marvin Bagley's career. And that's where, you know, the next couple of years, it just was an up and down battle of just trying to stay healthy. His second season in the NBA at only age 20, Marvin Bagley literally played only 13 games. 13 games, he started 6 of them, and even in those games, he averaged 14 points a game, right? So you just knew, even when he played in that limited amount of time with the Sacramento Kings in his second season, like, yo, when this guy is healthy, he's producing, right? He's producing. Mind you, in his first season at age 19, he only started, as I mentioned, 4 games, and he only averaged 25 minutes a game, right? So he's coming off the bench, he's getting the bench minutes, but he's still productive with 15 points and, of course, almost 8 rebounds, obviously shooting well over 50% from the field, right? So his second season only playing 6 was really tough for him. His third season, right? His third season, he played about 43 games, and he actually was then a starter, right? He actually then was a starter, averaging 14 points a game, which was nice to see. Like, he's back in his pace. And then he got traded. Yeah, he got traded. It was a massive trade in the NBA, which involved multiple players. Dante, right, who we mentioned, who now obviously plays with the Knicks, but this is where he was traded. Serge Ibaka ended up going to the Bucks, and it was just a massive trade involving multiple, you know, teams and players, in which that season Marvin Bagley was traded to the Detroit Pistons, and that's obviously the team that, you know, is getting a lot of headlines for how they're playing and things of that sort, right? And you know what's pretty crazy, before we get a little bit into how he did in Detroit, Marvin Bagley right now is like extremely young. It's like kind of crazy to believe. He's only 24 years old, right? So pretty mind-blowing. Anyways, so my man later on that season ends up playing with Detroit, and, you know, in his small stint with Detroit, he averaged 14.6 points a game still. So him and the 14s just kind of meshed together, right? 6 to 7 rebounds a game. Not too much of an uptake in terms of the minutes per game, 27 minutes a game with Detroit that first half season. And obviously he wasn't a starter for that whole season as well. So you're seeing him not getting that consistent opportunity, I guess, to start. Now keep in mind the Detroit Pistons roster at this time, the span in which he was there was just wavering all over the place, right? They still have some of their core players, but obviously in terms of like centers, they had Kelly Olynyk, they had Jahlil Okafor, who's only 28 now, by the way, which is crazy, right? They had him, obviously Isaiah Stewart, who's still with that squad. They had him, and he was like their prominent center that they were going to build around. So he actually was the full-time starter the following season, in which Marvin Bagley then obviously had to obviously take a hit as well in terms of A, how many games he played, but then B, how many games he started. So obviously Marvin Bagley that season, he played 42 games, and then he only started 25 of those games, averaging 12 points a game in that season and averaging 7 rebounds or so. But injuries really took a big hit. Marvin Bagley, from the beginning of his career till his stint in Detroit, had back injuries, he had wrist injuries, he had, to be out for multiple weeks during the seasons and things like that. And he's just A, with a combination of injuries, and then B, a combination of course, not getting the opportunity, really wasn't able to shine the way at least we all thought he was able to or had the potential to do as well, right? And it wasn't until very recently, bro, literally January 14th, in which a massive trade happened, okay? He actually ended up going to the Washington Wizards for Gallinari and others, and it was just an opportunity for him to have a fresh start, right? And the cool thing about this trade is the Wizards have Marvin Bagley for a longer duration. He has at least this upcoming season, and then he has the next season as well, 2024-2025 season, right? There is a player option, but he did sign that 3-year contract for $37.5 million with the Detroit Pistons, on July 6th, 2022. So happy for the man that he got, somewhat of a bag, more than I'll probably ever get in my life, but he still got a bag. And super happy for him that now Washington has, somebody who has a lot of potential if, remaining healthy. Now, fast forward to today, in the past couple of weeks since Marvin Bagley literally has, embarked on this new team, we're making a video on him for a reason, are we not? Marvin Bagley is literally playing, his best basketball he's ever played. You know what I'm trying to say? In the past 5 games, and I know we're early into the season, who knows what's going to happen. In the past 5 games, Marvin Bagley, at only age 24, with the Washington Wizards, who, obviously they don't have their coach anymore, and it's all, who knows what's going on with this organization, Jordan Poole, Kuzma, etc. But Marvin Bagley averaging 17 points a game, almost 10 rebounds when given the opportunity, and check it out, just 27 minutes as well. In those 5 games in which he's averaging 17 points a game, my man only started 2. So he's still not the starting center of the squad. It's pretty crazy that, he's had a 20-point game, a 21-point game, a 17-point game. He is shooting, so well from the field goal percentage as well. My man is literally shooting 60%. 60%, bro. He is killing it. He's having a great season so far with the Washington Wizards. Now, the thing is, if you're a Wizards fan, you're already knowing and you're watching all this. The Wizards have a starting center type of player already, /forward on their squad already. What's his name? His name is Daniel Gafford. Now, I know that, of course, Bagley can play the forward position as well, but right now, they have some pretty deep players who kind of solidified their roles in that squad. They got Kyle Kuzma, who could play that forward position from time to time, the 4, but primarily the power forward role is reserved for Denny Avdija. He's averaging 13 points a game, 9 rebounds. He's a pretty solid, solidified role with Washington. If you're a Wizards fan, let me know. I don't watch Wizard games day to day. You know what I'm trying to say? So if you are a Wizards fan, maybe you don't like what you want Marvin to be your 4. I don't know, but that's just kind of what's going on when you look at the stats and the starters and stuff like that, right? So clearly, if Marvin Bagley wants to make a big splash with the Wizards, he has to do it beating Daniel Gafford for that starting position. because Gafford himself is a boss. Like, I know that because I'm a Bulls fan, and we had Gafford on our squad. You know what I'm trying to say? And when I would watch Gafford, I would see his athleticism, and I would see his monstrous ability to just attack the rim and just play strong. He's super young as well, 25 years old, and he's averaging a solid 10.6 points a game and 7.5 rebounds a game. You know what I'm trying to say? So, like, he's also a promising player. So I don't know how they're going to figure it out. I don't know if they're going to find a way to maybe make Gafford the forward, and then you got Bagley as a center, or vice versa, or maybe, you know, Avdija ends up going to the 3, and, you know, the 2 ends up being Kuzma, and the 1 ends up being Poole. But then I know you got Tyus on the squad, so there's a lot, and then you got Shamet on the squad, right? So you got a lot of factors, and obviously that's kind of what the coach will probably have to figure out. But when you got a player who's playing this well in Marvin Bagley this early, you got to find a way to give him more minutes, get him in the rotation, and let him really flourish. Why? Because I look at Andre Drummond, and we made a video on this. Andre Drummond is still super young, literally number 2 in terms of all-time double-doubles in the NBA of current players, and my man literally is not getting the time that he deserves. And if he goes to any other team, he's a guaranteed 15-15 every single night. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's something that I see Marvin Bagley being able to do and produce if he's playing the way he's going to play and being healthy. But it all comes down to opportunity. Gafford was actually out for, you know, some of the games during the stretch of Marvin Bagley, but of course when you look at Marvin Bagley's stats, you notice that his minutes are going down. So in the most recent game, Marvin Bagley only played 16 minutes, but in that 16-minute stretch, my man averaged, he got 14 points in that game, shooting 4 for 5. And the game prior, 26 minutes, 17 points, 7 for 8. He's shooting at a really high field goal percentage, but it's tougher when you got a starting center who's also good in Gafford. So with that being said, everybody, we really went from the beginning. We went story mode like crazy. We talked about Marvin Bagley getting drafted, his whole journey going to the, you know, Sacramento Kings, to the Detroit Pistons, getting the bag, and now ending up in the Wizards. I wish Marvin Bagley the best. He's somebody I'm sure we've all known how much potential he has, and it's really cool to see that potential manifesting into actual, you know, performance. But it all depends on the roster, what they want to do, the higher-ups. Maybe they trade one of the big men and let Marvin Bagley be the starter. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But Marvin Bagley, this video was for you, and I'm so happy to see that you are playing the way we all knew you could play, and I just hope you continue to do this. There's a young core in Washington, and they got a lot of potential. They're going to just need to find a way to kind of, you know, mesh together, maybe make another 1 or 2 moves, get somebody good in the draft, and hopefully, you know, y'all can make something happen. But if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and join the family. In the comments down below, I'm going to be responding to every single comment. What are your thoughts on Marvin Bagley? Are you a Wizards fan? I don't know if I got a lot of Wizards fans watching these type of videos, but if you are, you're probably typing in Marvin Bagley anyways. Let me know what's up and what you think about the whole Wizards situation. I'd love to hear it from you.